When you look online, there's not even a single video yet showcasing how well the DJI Action 6 does underwater. Today, I'm going to be changing that. I'm going to be comparing this Action 6 up against this Ace Pro 2 beside it. You're not going to want to miss it. In this video today, I'm going to take you to Moalboal, Cebu, Philippines, home of the legendary sardine run. Today in these tests, I'm going to be testing the different frame rate modes between both of these cameras and see whether or not we potentially do receive any sort of benefit by increasing the shutter speed, if that helps at all with stabilization. Also, we're going to have a look at the Supernight and pure video modes to see maybe we should be using that underwater instead of the regular mode within these cameras. For those concerned, this is not in any way a lazy pool test. Anyways, enough of that. Let's jump in.
15
to go to the next terminal.
Okay. Round 2 of trying. She is the leader. Being from Cebu, she knows this area quite well, unlike myself. This is a pretty good time to test the mics on this. Right now, I'm sure they're just absolutely filled with water. So I assume it should be next to impossible to hear me properly, but let's see. For the previous clip, I was shooting in 4K 25 frames. Let's try out now 4K 60 and see if this helps smooth up the footage a bit. I'm just using the regular stabilization on the roll camera. Notice that there's actually an underwater mode for the Ace Pro 2. So I have it on now. Let's see exactly what this looks like. Let's go. Piece of saltwater stuff. Oh, I hate it. Okay, let's try out 25 frames per second now with that underwater mode still on. Okay, for this next test, we're gonna try out Supernight mode and see exactly how well this performs. I have it in 4K 30 on both cameras. Let's see how that works now. Still have Supernight mode on in that 4K 25. How's the audio now after being submerged for over an hour? Probably not great. What's crazy is I filmed all the footage from earlier and even all that footage in the water, and the Ace Pro 2 died way before this Action 6, with Action 6 still having 15% battery life. Really has great battery life, honestly.
All right, after finally getting to spend some time underwater in the ocean in Cebu, I have some thoughts on how I think both of these cameras performed. One of the coolest things about the DJI Action 6 that I don't believe I saw with my Action 3 is that it actually shows you the depth that you've dived to. I think this is a really great addition to add into these cameras, because I'm sure you all know that when you bring these cameras into a certain depth, you can really run into some issues. So I hope Insta360 down the road will introduce this as well into their cameras. We're looking at the Ace Pro 2. It does have a dive mode that locks the controls on your screen, and you have to kind of drag over the screen in order to unlock it to use it. And this actually helped remedy a lot of the misclicks that I had when I hadn't selected that mode. So you definitely want to be in the underwater mode when using the Ace Pro 2. The Action 6 doesn't have a particular mode for diving. It just sort of knows that you're diving, which is really cool. Although I do think that I did suffer a few mispresses throughout the day, but it honestly wasn't all that bad. I was a little skeptical about the Insta360's weather sealing, but I found that it wasn't an issue at all. It honestly had no problem going at the depths that I went to, although I believe the DJI Action 6 can go a little bit further, but you really need to know what you're doing to go to those depths. When looking at the weather sealing on these two cameras, both did a really good job. Although this DJI Action 6 actually allows you to go to 20 meters instead of the 12 that's on the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. But honestly, I'm never going to be getting to those depths unless I accidentally drop both cameras at the same time, so it wasn't a problem at all for me. We're looking at the audio comparison between both devices. This Insta360 Ace Pro 2 had much better audio straight out of camera once submerged, with the Action 6 just really lacking in that department. If you're looking for a travel camera that does it all, even possibly when submerged, I think this Ace Pro 2 does win, because most of you aren't going to be wanting to bring a microphone into the water with you. I think one of the biggest factors when looking at underwater cameras is the battery life. With this Action 6 having much better battery life than the Ace Pro 2. I recorded all the intro shots, taking the bus in the morning, and then also the little bit of vlogging shots. And I brought out the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 only for the water shots, and it died on the beach that day with this Action 6 still having around 17% battery life. So it really is impressive, the battery life that they're able to fit into this. Now, there's probably a few of you wondering why exactly battery life is so important, and it should honestly be quite obvious based on the fact that you don't want to be opening these doors all that much, because each time you open up these doors and they're a little wet, it brings moisture inside your camera body, and then that compromises electronics on the system. So it's best to do it as little as possible unless you're able to fully dry off the device. One thing that could have ended this test before it even started was that I actually forgot to check that the right microphone cover was on the camera. Being from Vancouver, I usually just leave this watertight mic cover on it anyways. So I had that installed, but there was a moment where I was really questioning whether or not it was the right one or not. So make sure if you're going underwater, you're using this cover and not the other mesh one. And it's just so easy to forget when you're checking the different compartments, like the battery door, the SIM card door, and also the lens, that you could possibly miss that extra step, especially if you're coming from a camera like this Action 6 where you're not used to doing that sort of workflow. Now you're probably wondering, which camera did I prefer using underwater? I think the Action 6 was a little bit better, with the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 still needing the depth detection setting, which I think is going to be really useful for a lot of divers out there, and also that auto dive setting where you're not having to set it yourself is really, really useful. Not to mention the battery life just being incredible on this system. It makes for much less battery swaps, and that will keep you going for most of the day. Looking at both these cameras, you're going to be pretty well off with your underwater footage either way, no matter what you choose. Action 6, I haven't mentioned yet, but you will be able to get a little bit closer with the variable aperture going to f4 if you set it to that. And yes, you can't use the macro lens at all to be able to shoot f2 underwater unless you use something like a dive case, which could be actually pretty great setting it to f2, because there's not obviously lighting like I have here in this scene here underwater, and you're kind of just stuck with what the sun gives you. Well, I hope you liked today's video. I have some really exciting content over the next bit. One of the videos will be showcasing Sinulog Festival in Cebu, Philippines, and I'm really excited to share that with you all. I have links in the description. Please buy through my links. It helps me make videos like this for you guys in the future, and I really appreciate your support. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos over the next bit, and I will see you all on the next one. Take care. Bye.